You're watching VoiceTober with BrandonVoiceGuy. So before we begin the story, I like to first point out my mic arm's a little weird. There is an issue with one of this thing right here. But anyways, the Red Brick Road, I kind of made it after just asking, like, just thinking about where it led to, and the theory that it might lead to the Quadling country, and just going with crazy ideas for what the road's made of and all that stuff. And I hope you enjoy it. It's not the best, but I don't know, I had fun researching this back in the day and thinking of crazy little stories and stuff for it, and hope you enjoy the climax of, you know, discovering what it's made of and all that good whatever. Anyways, hope you enjoy the Red Brick Road. In the book The Wizard of Oz, the Yellow Brick Road forms in the center of Munchkin Land, and alongside that is a Red Brick Road. Exactly like the Yellow Brick Road, but, well, made of red. No one exactly knows where it leads to, because Dorothy doesn't go down the Red Brick Road. It's said in the original series, written by L. Frank Baum, that the Red Brick Road leads to Quadling County. You see, in the books, the Land of Oz is divided into 4 quadrants, and each of them is designated to a particular color. Winky Country was yellow, Gillikin Country is purple, Munchkin is blue, and Quadling Country was red. And of course, Emerald was green, it was situated in the middle of the Land of Oz. Also in the 1930s film, Glinda the Good, the ruler of the Quadlings, follows the Red Brick Road off-screen. So it's assumed that because Glinda the Good followed the road off-screen, it meant that it was obviously going to Quadling Country, and since Quadling Country is red, it fit pretty well. But that's not the case. You see, the real reason why the Red Brick Road was made was to be the original road to the Emerald City. This was before the Yellow Brick Road was even made, mind you, so it was the only brick road there. It would start off in the middle of Munchkin Land, then spiral out, then go off to another direction. Then, if you followed it, like the Yellow Brick Road, it would take you to the Emerald City. It would have been a more wooded walk, and it would have taken much longer, being that it's another path, and you would have to go to different areas. If you were to take the Red Brick Road now, you'd find that it isn't even made. That is, if you venture past the "Do not venture past further" signs. Glinda the Good would appear before you and ask you to follow her back to Munchkin Land. Before you do anything, she would then teleport you back without any question. So, walking down the Red Brick Road is impossible now. It would have taken a year for the road to be completed, and Glinda the Good was supposed to lead this construction, although her being busy with her own city, and she found a way to be able to visit every so often while keeping up with her duties as ruler of the Quadlings. So she'd only be able to visit maybe once or twice a month. She thought it was a good idea. The work crew was, of course, Munchkins. The Munchkins found a material that they used. It ran off their hands without causing any stains, but of course they used their bare hands because they didn't want to ruin any gloves they had with that material. But after a few months of using the material, it began to stick to their hands. Not like sticky, but it started leaving, well, residue on their hands. But it didn't sting or anything, so it didn't really matter to them. They didn't worry about it. A few weeks later, the Munchkins started to talk amongst themselves about a strange metallic taste. And the next few days, one of the Munchkins began vomiting and having difficulty breathing, followed up by a bad cough. When Glinda the Good visited, they decided to inform her on the situation, When she was tending to one of the munchkins, she found out that his gums were swollen and bleeding. Later, most, if not all of them, were complaining about burning throats and even stomach pains. Even few of them complained about bloody diarrhea and vomiting. The symptoms sometimes got as worse as numbness and pain on certain parts of the skin, uncontrollable shaking and tremors, the inability to walk well. One had to leave because he was going blind. Some of them were having memory problems, not remembering why they were even there in the first place. One even died of a seizure after long exposure to the material. After that, Glinda decided to close the road so no one could get hurt. But the Munchkins pleaded with her. They wanted to keep building the road. After a long decision, she reluctantly agreed. But from that moment forward, Glinda would no longer visit after the incident. In the coming weeks, things would only get worse as hallucinations started happening. Some of the Munchkins complained about seeing something in the corner of their eye, only to turn around to find nothing. Most, if not all, Munchkins started having nightmares after the incidents, so they decided not to sleep. Every so often, they would stop to rub their eyes, not because they were tired, but because their vision would start to blur, and rubbing their eyes were the only thing to stop it. Some even complained about hearing voices, but the voices were distorted and low-pitched, not like anything a Munchkin would say. Every so often, they would send letters to Glinda the Good about reporting on the road and the occurrences that had happened. After a few months, the letters stopped coming. After a few days of not receiving any information on the road, she came to the conclusion that she had to return to the road. She took the long path down to the woods. She was still haunted by the memories of what had happened, but strangely surprised how beautiful the road looked in the moonlight. Then she started hearing voices. She walked another few feet before stopping. The road had changed. It wasn't slight or subtle. It was as if the road she was walking on ended and a new road started. When examining the road, she found it wasn't even the same texture. It was very bumpy, as if someone hastily painted over the road or dipped the material in something different. She ran her finger across it and found it was just some material over regular brown bricks. She looked up and froze in terror. She saw the dead bodies of the Munchkins scattered across the road. All of their throats had been cut. She checked back in her hand, and it was blood. Then she heard the voices again. She looked around and found a single Munchkin continuing to work on the road, laying bloody bricks beside each other. When he was sent to the Emerald City, he kept rambling on about how the voices made him do it, how they ran out of material and the other Munchkins were about to leave, but he had to use their blood to continue the road. The Munchkin was sent to psychiatric care. On the day of his sentencing, the guards found he had cut his own throat, and his blood, he wrote a single message on the wall: never go down the red brick road. When an autopsy was performed on the Munchkin, they discovered that he was exposed to an extreme amount of red mercury. Since then, Dave began construction of a new road, one entirely made of yellow bricks. What was left of the material they used of the red brick road was discarded and buried, never to be used again. This is why they always remind you to follow the yellow brick road. So there it was. What'd you think? Was it alright? Was it classic creepypasta? You know, I can't remember exactly what I inspired it from, but I thought it would have been a fun idea back in the day. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy your October, and I will see you guys in the next VoiceTober. Thank you for watching my Ghost Sequels. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and request. Hit the bell to let you know when Brandon goes live or uploads another video. Check out the 2 videos on the screen and subscribe if you haven't already. There are also donation links in the crypt. Thanks again, and I will see you in the next VoiceTober.